We begin with breaking news. A security guard at Fox 5 here in D.C. shot a man trying to bust into that building. It happened just after 3 o'clock this afternoon on Wisconsin Avenue. That is just blocks away from the border with Maryland.
Ardelia Gonsalves is live near the TV station with more. Ardelia, what can you tell us?
Adam, we came here right after hearing the news, obviously with a heavy heart, concern for our colleagues here at Fox 5. Everyone is safe. We're hearing from our colleagues over at Fox 5 that this is a 38-year-old man. Police know his identity but will not release it until the next of kin. However, I should say this person is still alive, shot in the upper torso by a security guard, an armed security guard here at the Fox 5 studio. So here's what happened and what we know so far. It appears that this person had walked up to Fox 5 shortly after 3 o'clock, kicked in the glass door. That alerted the security guard, who hopped from her desk, approached the suspect. We're not sure if any words were exchanged. He was not armed, we can tell you that. He forced his way in, and that's why she fired her gun and shot him in the upper torso. He was taken away via ambulance, sent to the hospital with an injury, obviously, and breathing and conscious. That's what we're hearing. Now, we're reporting alongside, shoulder to shoulder, with many members of the media, local, national, even our Fox 5 friends who are out here as well. Our colleagues, Lindsay Watts, who works the night side shift, shared with me a short time ago that she had just gotten to work when she heard some kind of commotion and stayed away, several blocks away, in fact, in her car until the situation calmed a bit. She arrived to work, started hearing about someone trying to get into the building, and then she did what we all do as journalists. She came outside and started reporting. Certainly a good ending here because their security protocol worked. No one was injured inside the building. The employees who were placed on lockdown remained safe. Lockdown was in place for, I would say, about an hour. It was lifted shortly afterwards. We are getting a lot of this information firsthand from our friends and colleagues reporting side by side with us here on the street outside of Fox 5 studios, reporting on a situation that happened at their own workplace. We don't know anything about this security guard. We do know she is a woman who fired her service weapon, shot the suspect in the upper torso. He was breathing and conscious when he was taken from the scene. Now, police tell us they will be looking at, and Kurt, if you could just take a look at some of the surveillance cameras posted alongside the building here, where two right here outside facing Wisconsin Avenue, and then obviously several more by the door where we now see several members of the forensic unit outside and investigators trying to piece everything together. We saw folks trying to repair that shattered glass door a short time ago. We are still trying to piece together what happened here and why this person approached the station. But what we do know is all the employees inside Fox 5 are safe, reporting that their safety protocol indeed worked. Their security guard, who is armed, shot at this intruder who kicked his way in to the studios at 3 o'clock this afternoon. That's the very latest here outside of the Fox 5 studios. Delia Gonsalves, WUSA 9.
Delia, I know they are so glad that that security guard was there and was able to act when needed. And I'm so glad that you called them friends and colleagues, because even though we compete as stations, these are our friends, and we're really glad to know they are okay. So many unanswered questions, and one of them is, did this person have any connection to the station? Did this person come there with an axe to grind? All of these things, I'm sure, are going to be part of the investigation. All right, Delia. That was Delia Gonsalves reporting there outside of the Fox 5 studios. And again, we are so glad to hear that everyone there is okay. Ed?
So another frightening incident to tell you about today. An 18-year-old is accused of threatening to shoot up Walter Johnson High School in Bethesda. Well, he was denied bail this afternoon. The judge in the case says he's concerned about the safety of students who blew the whistle on former student Luis Cabrera. Police seized at least 2 semi-automatic rifles when they arrested him. Our Scott Broom is live at District Court in Rockville. Tell us more about this young man, Scott.
Well, 18-year-old Walter Johnson High School in Bethesda was arrested Wednesday afternoon. The 18-year-old was charged with Yeah, denying bail to this suspect, a really big deal to the Walter Johnson High School community in Bethesda. Students and staff there breathing a sigh of relief this afternoon, breathing easier now that they know this suspect, Luis Cabrera, will remain locked up for the time being. 18-year-old Luis Cabrera denied bail this afternoon. Insurance after a protective order was issued against him this morning. Cabrera arrested Friday after several Walter Johnson High School students reported social media posts by Cabrera showing photos of him holding an AR-15 rifle with loaded magazines and captions including "school shooter." In other posts, he's accused of writing, "I hate WJ" and "I'm going to shoot up the school." He was arrested Friday in Towson, Maryland, where he was staying with an acquaintance. Authorities seized a legally owned AR-15 semi-automatic rifle and a Kel-Tec semi-automatic rifle and ammunition that they believe Cabrera had access to. According to court records, Cabrera had a history of putting alarming gun videos of himself on social media and making threats dating back to February after he was told he could not graduate. He was sent to a crisis center for counseling but not charged. This time, he's accused of making a threat of mass violence. Authorities are particularly worried for the students who had the courage to alert their school resource officer of the latest threats. Ramon Korianoff speaks for Montgomery County prosecutors.
The people to whom he sent this video threat, need to be protected, and I think the judge saw fit that was one of the reasons that he was a clear and present danger, not only to society at large, but specifically to those children.
I think the remark was made that nothing was carried through, but I know the police department and the state's attorney's office take these threats seriously, and it's not what didn't occur, it's what could have occurred.
Not what didn't occur, but what could occur. That was Captain Paul Starks of Montgomery County Police. Cabrera will stay locked up at least until his next court date in December. Live in Rockville, Scott Broom, WUSA 9.
All right, Scott, thank you. Now, Walter Johnson Principal Jennifer Baker praised the students who alerted the school's resource officer to those most recent threats. And that can make all the difference, having the information in these cases and then passing it on to somebody who can use it. Now, as if that wasn't enough, in Virginia, a 15-year-old is facing felony charges in connection with threats at 2 Virginia schools. School buses were met with police cars outside of Baldwin Elementary and Osborne High Schools in Manassas. Now, the threat on Instagram appears to show an AR-15 rifle sitting on a wooden stool. The caption below is chilling. It reads, "This is not a joke. I will kill students tomorrow. So I hope no one goes this whole week because I'm going to be there and will kill students from Osborne High School, and my pal will go to Baldwin Elementary." Now, parents we talked to were understandably concerned.
Why did you walk her to school today?
Because of the threat.
A school is a safe place for the kids, and it's not safe anymore.
Police arrested a 9th grader they believe is responsible for making that threat. Detectives say the post was not credible or legit. That AR-15 picture was snatched from somewhere on the internet, and police say the student did not have the means to pull off the attack.
A critical and emotional day in the notorious D.C. Mansion murders case. That's where 3 Savopoulos family members and their housekeeper were killed. Closing arguments got underway today, and that means after 1 month and 3 weeks of testimony, a jury will soon decide who's responsible for those gruesome 2015 murders. Let's get to Stephanie Ramirez. She was in court today.
This was truly a hard day for the family. Even some reporters sitting behind them broke down in tears. In today's closing arguments, prosecutors went over again some of the most important evidence in this case. That include looking at the post-mortem photos of the bruising and the stab wounds on Amy Savopoulos' lifeless body. Darren Wint is the only man on trial for the murders of 46-year-old Savas Savopoulos, his 47-year-old wife Amy, their 10-year-old son Philip, and their housekeeper, 57-year-old Vera Figueroa. Back in September, on day 1 of the trial, the defense team came right out and pinned the 4 murders on 3 other people, Darren Wint's 2 brothers and Savas Savopoulos' assistant. They claimed the brothers had deceived Wint, but today the prosecution reminded jurors even if there were other suspects, that's okay. This trial is about Darren Wint and his involvement. The prosecution paints Wint as a man who lies, who wanted things he could not have, and who murdered out of greed. for $40,000. The burden is on prosecutors to prove Wint is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The jury might be able to start deliberating this as early as tomorrow. At D.C. Superior Court, Stephanie Ramirez, USA 9.
Now the defense will continue their closing arguments tomorrow, and then prosecutors get a chance for a rebuttal before the jury deliberations begin. President Trump is calling the caravan of Central American migrants moving toward the United States a national emergency. Those migrants are moving north in Mexico. President Trump blames the governments of Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador for not stopping people from leaving their countries. And he says the U.S. will end or reduce the foreign aid those countries normally receive. President Trump's threats appear to be doing little to stop the caravan.
This unemployed security guard from Honduras vows to get to the U.S., saying anything that happens, even if they kill me, is better than going back to Honduras.
Mexico has processed more than 1,000 requests for refuge. The caravan is still about 1,000 miles away from the U.S. border.
We're seeing new surveillance video tonight connected to the death of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. What the Saudis are saying about how Khashoggi died. We'll have that for you in 2 minutes.